One of the uses of the hand is in both Indian and Middle Eastern cultures, Pakistan, is the use of henna. And in the pre-wedding ceremonies, the bride's hands are painted with either very elaborate patterning or simply stained with henna as a protective device. These are, for example, some actual henna that has been dried, and when it would be placed on the hand and made wet, and then it would be absorbed into the hand in this particular pattern. And in order to protect the bride's hands, because it takes quite a while for the henna to become hardened and then could be washed off and remain for literally months as a dye, there are very elaborate henna gloves, and you can see with, again, a hand pattern on them, that would be placed on the bride to protect her hands during the ceremonies that would mostly take place within either the bride's home or a hammam, a bath, where all of her female relatives would come to help her. And here you can see some of the different types of designs in different parts of the world. We have here a number of hands that come from the Hebrew Jewish tradition. Interestingly enough, some of them are inscribed with something that sounds like tsup, 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 which is the automatopoeia of spitting 3 times to drive away the evil eye. These pieces, which have what we would say the Star of David, but is also called the Seal of Solomon in Muslim culture, are actually made by Jewish silversmiths for the Muslim audience in Jerba, in Tunisia. A lot of these types of hands you'll find hanging from the rear view mirrors of taxis all over the Arab world, India, Pakistan, that sort of thing. Hands are often used as door knockers or painted on buildings, and in the front we have a few of the actual door knockers as well. And they're shaped in various ways and in hand forms, and also realistically, often clutching what is the symbol of a pomegranate, which is a symbol of fertility. And you find those in Portugal, across the Mediterranean, as well as in the other side in North Africa. You find cute little designs like this in brass, which are actually designs that are placed on camels to give them protection, especially in the camel markets where they're trying to increase the value of their camel for sale. And so the more ornamentation the camel has, the more money they could probably get for it. Antique wedding tunics. The hand is placed in the position of the greatest vulnerability for the bride. So often you'll have the hand placed right here where the bride's virginity is the most vulnerable. The other place that hands are often placed, you'll see lots of them. These forms are actually hand forms, abstracted. And multiplicity is very, very important in hand iconography, because the more you have, the more power you have. It exponentially multiplies the power of the image. And a lot of the forms that are pieces that are used in the desert, such as the Moroccan ones, such as this fibula, all of these over here are Moroccan ones, they have multiple uses. You can see the hand forms on the sides, but they also are part of helping to give direction, because there is the sense of power that is necessary for tribes in the desert has a lot to do with getting lost, the feeling of needing to conquer that very, very hostile environment. And so a lot of these forms, such as the Mauritanian ones, such as this, will have the idea of 4 corners, for example, that would be the 4 corners of the east, west, north, and south. In Tuaregs, for example, they say that wearing these, one of them is given by the father to the son so that he will always find his way home. A Tunisian cape blanket robe. It's worn over the head and across the body, called a baknu. And all of these are patterns of tattoos that are protective tattoos. And this would be worn with fibula, the pins that would hold it together. And if you look at them, you can see immediately that they are very reminiscent of the kinds of fibula that one would see on pictures of Roman togas, because that's where the design actually came from. And in the case of this in North Africa, they are worn like this with a chain of some sort, and then hand or multiple hands and other forms which indicate girl or boy children. So the number of children would increase the number of hands. This is a wedding veil. It's actually transparent, believe it or not. It's embroidered in 24 karat gold thread, and the bride would wear this on her head, and the hand symbols, which you'll find here and here, would be directly in front of her mouth, where, again, any orifice is highly vulnerable to penetration by the evil eye. So to protect her speech, her soul, the hand would be placed in that position. The other elements of suns and birds and all of that are protective devices for celebrating the marriage. The brass finials are used often in processions on, for example, special Muslim holidays, saints' days, for example, and are often put on rooftops as well. You see them in Egypt especially. And then you have the door knockers. Again, this is a classic hand door knocker from Morocco with the symmetrical side, or camel ornaments. And very interesting, this is a pointer for reading the Torah. It's called a yad, but it's also a pointer for reading the Quran. And the scholar or the reader of the Quran would use the pointed finger to go line by line across. But the design is very, very similar to both cultures.